Hi, I'm Little Clover. It's been a year that I last record YouTube videos, so I want to continue that. Today, I want to teach you about the line manipulation in Vim. So let's get right into it. Create three lines. This is the first line. This is the second line. This is the third line. So it's it is a very simple text file. Just contains three lines. So what I wanted to do now is that I want the third line to become the first line, or no, and the first line to become the second line. So what should I do in these cases? Because I can't just get into enter mode and then you know press control backspace. That doesn't really do. It's not a Microsoft Word or even Emacs like that. So in Vim, we have special mapping for this, which is called D. So if I press T, it should delete the line, but it doesn't. You can see at the bottom right that the D is kind of stuck in there. It doesn't do anything. So we can know that D by itself doesn't do anything. But if I press D again, it deleted the whole line. But what it really do is that it puts this line into a temporary register so that later you can retrieve it. It's sort of like a clipboard in a computer that you copy that or even cut the line so that you'll be able to you could be able to paste that line into another program. So Vim is kind of do the same thing within Vim itself. So, but it doesn't paste. How do I do paste in Vim then? You might ask. So let's move to the first line. You can press GG, or in this case, since it's a very simple line, just contains very simple lines, you can just press K. Okay. So now, if I wanted to put the line onto the first line, I can do capital P. It just do the job perfectly. But what about uh, lowercase p? Well, if I move to the second line, which is containing the lines that said this is the first line, the line that pretending is the first line, if we press P, lowercase p in this case, you can see the third line appear at the bottom of the second line. So we have two third line in this case. Right. So what capital P do here is that it will put the line that in the temporary register and paste it onto that the current line. What the lower P is that it do the opposite what the capitalized P do. So it's very simple. In P, at least in mapping P, it is they are doing the same task in opposite direction. But you might say, what about capital T? Capital D, I mean. Capital D, quite surprising, it doesn't behave like P. Let's say I do DD, which is delete the line, right? Which is you learned just now. But if I do capital D, it do different things. What it do is that it deletes it deletes the character until the end of the line. So rather than explain to this like this, we can say that there is a grammar in Vim, at least in Vim mapping, that D serve as a verb. and what follow it is a um, object. What action you want to apply to the object. So in this case, D by itself is not, it doesn't have a meaning. It actually is a alias to D dollar sign, which is doing the same thing, same task. It's the same thing. How about DW, which is quite good because you last learned about W, which is moving to each word, right? To the start of the word. If I do DB, it deletes the word before this word. So you can combine it with DE, DP. I don't know if you have uh, let's say you have a parenthesis, you can do DAB, which is really useful, where A is represented as around and B as bracket. So if you do something like curly bracket, you can just do DA curly bracket. This is fine. This is powerful. But let's say, how about I say that there's two commands that can do the same thing, that have the same logic. The first one is C. So let's say this. I suppose that the third line is really stupid because it repeats what the first line had said. So I want to delete it, but I don't want to simply delete it like this. I want it to get into insert mode. I don't want to do something like DD and then uh, I and then I want to then type the dummy line and then press enter. That's lots of typing right here. So so we can do something very short like CC, which is really great since I can get into the insert mode so quick that I doesn't think about it. So let's say I want this is a dummy line, which is great. And you can apply the same logic. You can apply capital C, which deletes the character until the end of the line and then enter into the insert mode, just like the dollar sign. You can use the dollar sign. Sorry, the dollar sign, which is great. You can do the caret. You delete to the start of the line. Caret is the start, represent the start of the line. Or if you do CG underscore, you're doing the same thing as, not the same thing as the dollar sign, but they operate similarly. But if you have trailing white space, you will see differences. The trailing white space doesn't been deleted, but if you do see a $%, it deleted the whole line, deleted until the end of the line, not just the last non-white space character. So and you can do another thing that is another command that is a equivalent of Control C in other text editor, which is yank AY. We call it YY is yank the whole line. So you can do paste, let's say on the first line or under the first line. But there's an exception for Y, is that capital Y doesn't behave like what presented in D or C. you can immediately see the effect, which it actually yanked the whole line. What it should be actually in this kind of logic is to yank until the end of the line, right? But it doesn't. It just yank the whole line. You can see the difference in here. And if I do this, it doesn't even copy the special character of that represent the end of the line. So it's a conflicting logic in here, and you need to get used to this, to be frankly, or you can just set, you can just map this to this. Am I crazy? You can just map this into, you just can just force this behavior, and then if you do y, you just do the same logic as the what D and C do. So you can do the same thing like, let's say if I hold the bracket in here, not bracket, parentheses, y in B, it's only yank inside the parentheses. I indicate, what I just pressed is YIB, where I indicate inside. YIB, it included the parentheses, but YIB doesn't. So you can see the difference in here. You can see a difference in here. YIB, that's the difference. So let's say you just want to delete a white space. It's quite frustrated that you want to enter A and then delete. That's not going to work. You're going to press X for this case, which actually enter to the first, and it deletes the character, whatever the character is, under the cursor. Or let's say I don't like this D. I don't like this D at all, but I also want to get into insert mode. So you don't want to do something like A and then delete. That's just awful. What you wanted to do is that you wanted to press S, which delete a line and lead you into the insert mode. So you can press, you can say this is a mummy line, which is sweet. So I think that's all for the line manipulation in Vim. So if you have a interested in this, you can explore in the Vim help file. You can just press help and type out whatever command that you are interested in. So thank you for watching.